Hey, hello, and welcome back to the Elle Daily Podcast. You're tuning into our Off Limit series where we talk love, life, and the differences and surprising similarities between men and women. I'm your host, Ellen Rohrs, and here in Off Limits, we're not afraid to say the things most people won't. Nothing is off limits to talk about, like today's topic. So, whether you're a man who's wondering if chivalry is still welcome, or a woman who's tired of carrying everything herself, this one is for you. Let him lift it. The masculine strength we secretly miss. Again, this one is for both the men who want to show up and the women who are learning to receive and lean back. Before we dive in, make sure you hit subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend, especially if they've ever been stuck lifting their own carry on bag while a perfectly good man stood 5 feet away. Just saying. So I want to start this episode with a moment that gently and literally just melted my heart. It was such a special moment and it made me think of doing this episode, or it's the reason I wanted to do this one. So last night, I was at my sister's house watching Snow White with her and my 8-year-old nephew. We'll call him Bruno just to protect his name. But the movie, after the movie wrapped up, the skies absolutely opened up, full on downpour. I mean, it was just, if I would have stepped out for a second, I would have been drenched. So I wasn't planning on going out in it at that moment. And my little nephew Bruno was like, "Hey, Auntie Elle, you can wait for a little bit." And as it slowed down, that rain kind of settled a bit. I was getting ready to leave, and sweet little Bruno grabs an umbrella and says, "Auntie Elle, I'll walk you to your car." And I almost said, "Oh no, honey, it's okay," like women tend to do, right? We often will push that support away. But then I paused because I realized he was giving me a gift. And if I had rejected it, I would have taken away that tiny moment of purpose and pride for him. So I said, "Oh my gosh, absolutely, Bruno. I would be so appreciative. Thank you." And he just beamed. He marched me to the car in the rain, umbrella in hand, and it's still raining pretty hard. And the funny thing is, like the car door didn't open, and I realized I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Bruno, I forgot my purse." And so we had to walk back, and there my sister and brother-in-law are standing at the door, just beaming, just glowing. I think they're so proud of the little gentleman, the little man that he's become. So this 8-year-old boy already had it in him, the desire to protect, to serve, to show care. And it reminded me of this. The same instinct exists in men in all ages, of all ages. And the more we allow it to come forward, the more we nurture it instead of shutting it down, the better our world becomes. So I will say this might get a little spicy here, this episode. So quick note before we get the spicy stuff going. I want to just start by saying, of course, women can do hard things. Absolutely. I know I can do it all if I want. We can build, we can carry, we can lead, we can climb, all of it. But that's not the point of today's episode. This one is about celebrating, really celebrating what it means to truly let men show up in their natural masculine strength. And what happens when we stop resisting that offering? So I want to start with something that I immediately thought of. It's a quick story. So I used to live in Boston. So this would have been back in 2017 when I was flying a lot. So boarded the plane, and there's a lot of gentlemen on the front, but there was this one woman. And I figured, oh, she's probably going to sit right next to me. And she definitely did. We were in the very front row. But I watched a woman aggressively refuse help from a man who offered to lift her suitcase into the overhead bin. He was just trying to be kind, and she snapped back. I mean, just it was the body language, it was her tone. I don't even know if I can do it, but nope, thanks. I can do it. Almost like she was fully offended that he even offered to help. You could just almost hear that feminist energy radiating off her Samsonite suitcase or whatever it was. Might have been a Toomey. But here's the thing. I get it. We fought hard for equality. We absolutely did. I'm so happy that we're not back in the old days for sure. We fought for equality, for choice, for the right to do things ourselves, 100%. But I sometimes wonder at what cost. And I'm not saying I want to give up my freedoms or any of that, but that moment reminded me it's not weak to let a man help, it's wise. And we're going to see it unfold. And I would love to hear if you disagree with me, men or women. If you disagree, I want to hear why. That's the fun of this podcast. Nothing's off limits. You can say exactly what you think. But in my thought process, letting someone carry something doesn't mean you can't. It just means you don't have to. And it isn't that kind of the whole point, or I guess to me, where I'm trying to go with this, that to me is the point of empowerment, right? So, like, being able to let somebody else help you or support you. You're being empowered to be like, you know what? I'm going to ask for help because I know for me, I definitely being the matriarch or the oldest daughter, I often don't like to ask for help. So this can be for men and women being able to step back a little bit if you do need to ask for some support, or maybe you've been the one giving, whether you're male or female. It's a good reminder that it is okay if somebody offers to help, just give them the gift of saying thank you and receiving their gift. So that's that. Now I want to go into another scene that came back even longer ago. This might have been 2010 when I was working one of my first med device jobs. We had our global meeting. So, global sales meeting, we're all boarding the shuttle from the hotel to head to our corporate office. And there was a few, people from all over, but a few of the Scottish guys were helping women lift their bags, like our briefcase onto the bus, holding coats as we're trying to take them off. And it was just super charming and natural. They were just gentlemen. It was easy. And one of the American gals joked and she's like, how come American men don't offer to lift our bags like the Scottish guys? And she was she was joking. We were all bantering. And one of the American men shot back laughing, well, because you girls don't let us. You'd get offended if we tried. And we all were like, touche. That's totally fair. And we all chuckled. It was just one of those moments that perfectly captured the double-edged sword. We were all dancing around it. Kind of like how women can say to a man, oh, you look so dapper and sharp today. And it's seen as playful, it's a compliment. But sometimes if a man were to say, oh, you absolutely look stunning and beautiful, it can get a little complicated, right? And I know I could go down a rabbit hole with this topic, but the reason I bring it up and why I think it is off limits is we don't talk about it enough. And I feel like we're putting ourselves in this situation. There's a fragility, shall we say, in how we relate across gender now. I feel like it used to be a little simpler. And again, I'm not saying I ever want to go back to the old days, but deep down, I think most of us are craving a little more grace and a little less fear. So I do feel for the men when they're like, oh, do I offer to help her? Can I just hold her coat as she tries to take her arms out? There's all those things. And even for me, I, as a woman, would help a man if he was trying to take his coat off, especially sitting on the plane or your tight quarters. It was just being a good human being. And I think in whole the whole point of this podcast is that about being a good human being and giving people the gift to help, saying thank you, but also on the flip side, all of us showing up for each other. So now the other aspect to this is I want to kind of do a little shout out to men. My new place, I can see the pool. I can see a lot of the workers up on the high floors, window washing, all of it. And I'm enjoying it because I'll be sitting here overlooking the pool, the balcony. It's raining. It's cold. It's been an icky week. Definitely miserable. And there's all these men out there working. A couple were planting flowers. Some were fixing equipment in the pool. One's in a harness suspended over the edge of the building, like some superhero. And I'm just sitting here thinking, I love men. And where I go with this is like, I really do, because it's not just about their biceps and their bravery. I mean, half of them they weren't like drop dead gorgeous. So I'm not even saying it's about that, but it's just their essence. So it's about the instinct to build, to protect, to show up, to sweat and sacrifice without needing a standing ovation. And maybe if some of you are with a man that needs a standing ovation, that would be tough. Sometimes a little validation goes a long way, but you do rarely see the women in those physical high risk roles, not because we can't, I know we could, but because in most cases, we weren't designed to need to, if that makes sense. And maybe I think that's okay. I always think like I, as a woman, will never grow a beard like some of you men out there, and I'm okay with that. And men, some of you will never be able to do some of the things like have a baby or breastfeed like us women can. And I'm okay with that. So there's something beautiful about watching each of our strengths. And it's just steady to see men, steady to see women. And I really think, the real flex is letting a man be a man. So, this is an interesting podcast, but hear me out. So let's be honest. We're tired. I know for me, we've been bossing up, leaning in, running the show, definitely with work, and that's okay. Work environment's different. So, but I'm curious, what it looks like at home, or I know part of me, even in my dating world, I start to maybe boss up or lean in too much just because it's what I know from my working world. And right now I'm in that lull where I'm looking for a job, and I'm definitely in my whole flight or fight, just really stressed, overly stressed. So dating, I found for me, is a little bit trickier right now because I'm just not in my feminine energy as much. So I know for me, I need to lean back a little bit. So what if we as women started leaning back a little bit? What if we let the man lead us to the car? Or what if we let him open the door, open the wine, and carry the groceries and fix the thing we pretended we knew how to fix, but totally didn't? And for guys, if you're listening, you're not going to want to know that trick, but you get it. So, ladies, it doesn't make us less powerful, it makes us magnetic. And because here's the truth is, masculine provision isn't oppressive, it's an offering. So when a man offers to be helpful, he's just offering. And feminine receptivity, or how do you say that word? Receptivity is what I'm trying to say, isn't a weakness. So if you're receiving this, it's a beautiful strength that's wrapped in the softness of receiving that gift. So the real flex, letting him be a man and being secure enough to let yourself receive that. And I could get into the whole physical aspects too of men and women. We know biologically the women receive the man's, right? And there's even that aspect to it. So the biology is just there in general. So there's something ancient here. It's this instinct, the instinct to provide for men and the instinct to be cherished for women. Men want to provide, they want to protect. It's not toxic, it's not outdated, it's in them. And most women, whether we say it out loud or not, want to be chosen, cherished, held. It's absolutely biological, it's beautiful, and it is not broken. So I have seen it in myself, the way I light up when I feel supported, the peace that settles in my nervous system when I realize just for a moment that I do not have to do everything on my own. So maybe it's time we let the masculine show up again in his strength and his stillness and his service. And maybe it's time that we start saying thank you a bit more. So, what I'll say is what we secretly want. I think most women I know don't want to dominate. They want to feel safe, they want to feel desired, adored. And this is again more in relationships, not necessarily at work, right? It's a little different here, but I'm trying to talk more relationships. And we want to be strong and we want to be soft. We want to be independent and we want to be held. And there's this I guess I need to give you a little permission. So here's your permission slip. You can stop trying to carry it all. You can let yourself be vulnerable. You can trust a good man when he shows up. So again, that's not weakness, it's wisdom. And I know I need to work on that always, is to allow the gift and receive that gift. So I want to reflect on some questions here. So where in your life are you still carrying something you don't have to do? So are you still carrying something that you maybe feel you have to do and you're just doing it because of that? Is there a way you could let it go? Is there a way that you could give that to somebody else to do for you? Have you ever rejected help out of pride, not principle? I know I have definitely rejected help out of pride. Think about that. Write down if you have something to say about it too. But what would it look like to receive instead of prove? So that is something I used to do in my dating world. My goodness. It's like I always felt like I had to prove myself. And that is a masculine energy, big time. Men like to prove, and that's okay. But for us women, We don't have to prove. It's just be. And how can we honor masculinity without apologizing for femininity? So I think for me, I always feel like I need to do to be liked, but it's okay to just be feminine and just again, just be in your essence. So that's what I want to leave with you is, you know, how can you really encourage the men in your life, whether it's your sons, whether it's your, siblings, your spouse, your friends, you name it. I think we all need to, when somebody offers to help, be open to it, especially in this masculine, feminine world. So if you love this episode, feel free to share it with someone who needs a reminder that strength comes in all forms. Leave a review, hit the subscribe button, and find me over at the www.elledaily.com. And that way you will be able to check out the website and work on some of that feminine energy, masculine energy. And hey, until next time, if a man offers to lift your bag, let him. It might just be the beginning of something beautiful. So until next time, stay radiant, stay honest, stay a little off limits. All right, lots of love. Bye.